Hi, I'm Coach Nikki B, and I'm here today with Dr. Monique Belton. Monique is a colleague of mine, and she recently received, or bought, I should say, a remarkable tablet, and she's agreed to talk with me about it today. So, Monique, I'd just love to hear from you. Well, first of all, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit or share anything about yourself real quickly?
Okay, well, my background is in clinical psychology and in business coaching, and I am about living like a boss as the
Yes.
bigger picture. And so, if I want to say about living like a boss, maybe the remarkable tablet has me bossing myself a little bit better. Because for most of us, if we're the boss of ourselves, and that's really what living like a boss is bossing yourself. Other people then, respect your boundaries and you respect yourself. But this has just helped me sort of revolutionize and go back to keys that were successful for me in the past,
Love it.
about writing and planning primarily.
Yeah, I just love that philosophy. Um, Monique, I know you looked at a lot of different things, the iPad and different apps and things like that. What had you finally land on the remarkable tablet itself?
I saw someone using it and I just said, what are you writing on? And she showed me and I was like, oh, I need that in my life. And immediately I saw for me how I would use it. And I was ready to buy it, within 30 minutes. I'm a cautious person, so I waited a couple of few days, but I was just like, I got to get this. Um, One, she was writing on it and she said, it's like a real pen. You feel what you're writing. And she was writing some client notes. And I was like, I'm always looking for the clipboard or whatever. I'm highly distractible. So what happens is by the end of the day, I usually have piles of paper and the clipboard's over here because I'm doing this or that.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, all of my notes will be there and I can handwrite them.
Yeah.
I'm not a typist. I don't encode things by typing things out or dictating them. I like the process of writing. As a psychologist, I know there's a lot of evidence that you encode things better in your memory when you write.
Yeah.
And certainly for the generation that wrote a lot more than keyboarding, it's absolutely, true, but it's true for me.
Mhm.
I had already set up a new system at the beginning of the year, and I was using erasable pens for planning, which were really good. And I had a whole thing. Maybe one day I'll teach it on laminating, all my basic things that I write out and using regular markers and erasing, quote them with hand sanitizer. And I could see that I could use both uh, in one thing and it was dedicated. So, like right now, for people that don't never even heard about the remarkable, because I had never heard about it. And I'm sure there are other people who have been thinking about it. They've been on the like, oh, but maybe I don't want to spend the money or whatever. This is my remarkable in its cover. It's that thin. And I bought
Very
a
portable.
Yeah, I bought a lovely cover because I was just like, but this is the thinnest. I wish I had written down what the specs were, but it's a quarter of an inch, maybe. Um, Very durable, easy. I don't think I really need a cover, but I bought a cover because one day I'm going to be out at meeting and I kept thinking, oh, I'm going to have this thing and I'm going to open it and everybody's going to say, what's that?
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. But the cover was also so that I could distinguish it among the piles because I love to write on legal pads and things. I've got the
Mm.
pink pad, the purple pad, the yellow pad, the white pad, but I can never find the right pad
Well, and now you
to
have it all
write it
together, all in one pad.
in. Exactly. It's just one.
Yeah.
And it now is set up with Dropbox and with what's the other?
Oh,
Dropbox, Google
probably
Drive,
Google Drive
and
or
Google
something.
Drive.
Yeah.
And there's one more that just came out as an integration. And this is new, but so you're moving back and forth and you can move things.
Nice.
Um, and you can send, because I still like paper. So I write things, it is a PDF, and there are two other forms, but I don't use that. And I hit a button and it says send as, my address is in it. I hit the address. If I want to say what I'm sending it as, I can. And I hit one more thing and it sends it to my email. If I just
Well,
want to send to my email. Oh, this is
yeah.
where I wrote something. You can
Plus,
see my,
Monique, isn't it? Can't you also? I know you can handwrite on it, but then can't you also turn that handwriting into text that you can
yes,
then email or whatever?
it does have a function. I'm going to say, I think that's its weakest function that they're probably going to work on better in terms of it will translate it into text.
Mm,
And then when you get it, you're going to have to format it because it's doesn't pull
sure.
the form. But
Yeah.
that's very useful if you like to start with something typed. Like you can write it out, but now you don't have to type it. It is already typed, and then you make it a little bit better,
Well,
with
what
that.
I'm thinking though is the searchability. So that could make it searchable.
It's
So then if
searchable
you,
with Remarkable. That's the crazy
ah,
thing,
very cool.
is even without it being translated, there is right up here a little search function. And I need my glasses, but it opened up and then you put it in a little search box and it can search and find your stuff. So I haven't even talked about it as use for planning. I do create planners. I have Live Like a Boss planner coming out in January. Um, but you can take any of your planner, either PDFs if you have your own, and put it into Remarkable. There are, great ones. There's a great one to buy. And then there are other systems that you could pay. You don't need to pay. Just it's anything with a PDF you put on. So for instance, on a web page or something, and you want to read a PDF or a book, just send it right to the Remarkable. It'll sit there like the Kindle, like the this, but it's dedicated. So here is, I'm all over the place because I'm highly distractible, but that's okay. Some
But
of you are too.
actually, I love that. And I just want to really point out because you've said this a few times, it's dedicated, but I'm not sure. So explain that. What's so wonderful about this being dedicated to writing?
Right. You're not going to be writing and then get a ding and go to YouTube and forget about what you're
Cat
writing.
videos.
Like an iPad. It also, I didn't even say much about it, but there's a physicality of the writing.
Mhm.
And it has actually, I need my glasses. Here it is. Different kinds of pens. So it writes it feels and looks like a fine liner, a ballpoint pen. My favorite is calligraphy because it looks lovely. And I've had people say, "Oh, your handwriting's so lovely." But it's the calligraphy. I'm not a bad handwriter, but it's that calligraphy that kind of pulls in. or just on the top of a new sheet, I might write out what it is in calligraphy. It's two kind of pencils, a regular pencil and a mechanical pencil. And when you can just choose whatever pen, you want to write with and how it wants to look, fine, medium, and heavy. And then I discovered why I would buy mechanical pencils, either the cheap one or maybe even one that, you paid. And why I never use them is because they write differently. They don't write like
Mhm.
a regular pencil, and they're scratchy and you can't shade. So for people who are also artistic and you draw on this, and it can be shaded with your drawing. I can't show you that because I am not an artist at
Well,
all.
and I just want to be really clear here. What you're describing is there's one actual pen you use on the
Oh
tablet,
yeah,
but it
right.
feels, you can set it to feel like a different type of pen or pencil. That blows my mind. It's like, how does that even work? But
It,
I just think that's so amazing.
so what I'm showing you here is actually, let me take it out of the cover because it doesn't need a cover. Here it is. Okay, this is the pen. There are two kind of pens. I bought the upgrade because it has an eraser on it. There's also a function to circle what you want to erase, or say erase the whole page or this part. But but here's a cool thing: the pen charges by putting it onto the tablet,
That's cool.
and it's very powerful magnet. Now, if you go on YouTube, some lady said, "Oh, it falls off when I put it in my bag." She put it upside down. So as long as you don't put it upside down. So like you could look at this. This is nothing that important, but King Sumo. It was just some kind of advertising. And I just said I'll read it later on the PDF and a little bit, like you can see it. But the pen is a lot bigger than the tablet. And the erase. So the part that I said, I love pens. Okay, I have pens, pens, pens. I
Yes.
collect them, I buy them. Oh, if it's on sale, I got to get more. And then my erasers. So this is erasable. And to me, like erasable pens help my perfectionism because like I could just write it and then go back. I didn't have to know exactly what I was going to do at 2 o'clock. I think this is what I'm going to do. And then it's easy to erase. One other thing,
Yeah.
there's so many stuff I could go on forever. But back in the day, must be 20 years ago, I discovered Franklin Planner. I was a Franklin Planner person for many years, and I carried it and moved things. I was very productive. And then the Palm Pilot came out. Well, I wanted the latest thing. So I got a Palm Pilot and the next one and the next one. I was never good with those digital. Because I didn't write on them. They were typing. It just, and the latest digitized type of thing I have, and I still own it. If you own it and you want the extra, um, want to buy some books, I've got them. But it was the Moleskin. Moleskin came out
Oh,
with an,
right. Hmm.
and it was good, especially the one that I learned. I'll go to a conference, write everything. I wrote a book, or the notes, but I didn't finish putting the pieces together on my Moleskin. It didn't live up to the promise. And it's really good maybe to go to a conference and you're going to write. And then if you want to look back to the conference, where this is just instant, anything, a phone number, I just click on the file and, today's date, if I go to put it on my planner or just a random sheet, and my supply of Post-its is going to go dry and they won't work and I'll have to throw them away because I don't really need the
Mm,
Post-it. I can just grab
yeah.
this rather than the little Post-it that I know. And I can always find it if it is under my piles because I do create piles. So those are some of the things. Oh,
Yeah.
and the reason why I also wanted to tell people is maybe they have thought about it and they've heard that people that own Remarkables are grumbling. Well, you know why they're grumbling is because you can get it cheaper and they can't sell their old one for as much money because they changed and went to a subscription plan. And so you can get in and buy your Remarkable for $100 less. And what goes less? And I have a coupon code for $40 less. So
There you go.
you can buy and get it home for $140 less than it was when you were considering it and said it's too expensive. It's a lot less than an iPad. It's not, if you're writing, you're not going to get distracted because you're reading and writing here.
Yeah.
And
We'll be sure and include the coupon code
okay.
with the video here.
Yeah, and I don't know how long, they're still gonna have that deal of you can also have another $40 off. So let me just explain real quick. So
Mhm.
the subscription means that if you want to link Dropbox and Drive and everything else, you pay either $6 or $8 a month. So it takes more than a year to make, to pay into it $100. And I don't know, 140. It's almost 2 years that you're just paying $8. And I would recommend, to do the subscription, but you can do it without. You can
Mhm.
collect, put a USB port into it, and it does right up in here have where you plug it in. It has a good battery, I don't remember.
Mm.
And there are other things like it, but if you want to waste a lot of time looking at a zillion reviews, Remarkable in the end is the one that most people like. And if you love feeling like you're writing, not on a screen. One
Mhm.
time I caught myself, I had a regular pen and I was writing on the screen.
I remember you told me that. That's so funny. Well, it wasn't funny at the time, I'm sure. But how did you get it clean when you wrote on it with a real
It
pen?
wasn't, it was easy. It doesn't scratch.
Oh, it's wonderful.
And I think I probably, because I was so anxious, I probably licked my thumb and saw if it was gonna come off,
That's
and it
funny.
would. Now, I
Well,
don't know about the permanent markers. I'm not gonna go that far, and I'm not gonna try it. So
no, let's
you
not.
you could Google it if you want to know. I'm sure somebody answered it.
Well, a couple things that you've mentioned that I think will really speak to people, especially writers, but
Mhm.
the fact that it's you're not easily distracted, that it is really made for writing or drawing. And so you're not distracted by emails coming in or cat videos or YouTube, any of that. And then the
Mm.
other thing that you mentioned is your tendency to get distracted, that you're disorganized. And, we've talked before that there's a little ADHD kind of going on there.
Oh,
So
big one.
it seems to me like this could be really helpful for people who tend to chase squirrels or get distracted easily, and help with the organization there. What do you think of that?
Oh, I love it because I always struggle with organization and, there's some real basics that a structure that you can kind of have and find, your team, find your planner, find whatever, and it's pretty can be very straightforward. Because sometimes even when I'm like on the computer, I'm going to look for something, but I get distracted in the search. And the
Right.
next thing you know, I'm still going down. It's not a YouTube rabbit hole because I try not to in this chair do anything like that. But it just in looking. So it's got that searchable and with the writing. So I like to write out freehand, like write stuff out like old school. But I can send that to my assistant and they can put it in or change it or like it it has templates. So if you want a checklist, you just hit the button for templates, you pick the checklist and you have a checklist template right there and you just put your checklists,
Mm,
on or a regular page or like two panels, that they're two different things and you say one thing and whatever. So it's really easy for me to send it to somebody that I'm uh, co-working with or is helping me because they make something new, they send it back to me. It's on a PDF because you just convert it for the remarkable. It's nothing to convert it. And then I can just write on it. And then somebody in the Philippines or Salt Lake City or Texas, or I'm just talking about people I'm working with, or Bangladesh, get it. Because I hit the send and they get it in the email and I don't have to type up, changes.
yeah.
So for me, the writing and I'm writing a new book and this is very exciting. This one is a journal, and then there's another book, but I can write again
Mm,
and not type,
yeah.
and my brain works better. And with the erasable part, I'm freed of not needing to know exactly what I'm going to say. I can
Oh,
just write.
yeah. It can
And
really
so,
free you from this idea of having to do something perfectly. Or, as you said, you can switch from a checklist to some other kind of format for a form you're creating or what. So I think it's just amazing. Um, so Monique, I know we need to wrap up, but I do want to ask you one other thing. Other than the accidentally writing on it once. Are there any other unexpected problems or challenges that you've had as you have used this for the past few weeks?
um, I'm trying to think. I think there is sitting back, but this is for anything and thinking about what's your best structure
Mhm.
to organize your file folders. I mean, you visually can see them, but because of that ADHD, like 2 seconds, I don't like waiting 2 seconds for something. So having it in a structure where in 2 seconds I just can find it. So in the beginning with the ADHD, I kind of didn't read the intro and I just started using it. And so then it wasn't as quick because just, reading like best practices and how to use it and how to organize. Now, not they don't tell you how to organize, but just think how do you want to use it
Right.
and what do you want to get to the quickest. And so one thing, if you're like me and you jump on it and it's like quick sheets, there's something called quick sheets. That sounds great. No, it's not great because the only part of not being able to shift into a lot of different file folders are the quick sheets. Now you can send them to yourself and they're PDFs, and obviously you could copy and paste them, but You don't need quick sheets. I don't know what, like people complain. Why? Why do we have these quick sheets? Because I thought, oh, I have it so I can find my templates. No, in anything you're using, you can click templates and you have a template, and something more suitable for the organizational structure. Like if you want storyboards, you get a 2-story board or a 4-story board right there, and you start writing in the storyboard. And don't use quick sheets. So that's my biggest tip.
Hey, good tip. And what about the learning curve? Have you found it to be pretty easy to learn to use, or is there a little bit of a learning
I
curve with
think
it?
it's, well, for me, there's more of a learning curve because I'm older and I'm super busy in my business. So I don't just have a lot of time to kind of play. And what's good about this is also, oh, okay, I think yeah, it's turned on. You have finger gestures and you can open things up with your fingers. And at first it was like, oh, what's the finger thing? Um,
Oh
like right
yeah,
now,
having to
I just
remember all
hit
that.
and with this finger thing, oh, I need my drawing glasses on. Mm, I was going to say something distractible, but I didn't. Okay, so here's the eraser, and no, they can't see it. Here's the eraser, and here's the way that you get your different fine liners, and then you want to close something up. So at first, I wasn't used to a lot of hand gestures. Um, but if you have a little bit of time, I mean, anything, you need a little bit of time.
Sure.
But it's really nice because if you pull something up, you get to see the whole document. And each page or pane of a document, you can just pick the page. Um, and it's like that. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't think it's arduous. And I would say the most difficult one is like the super duper planner system that I use, because it's not the problem of the remarkable. I had to learn the planner. It has everything. And when you have everything, it is hard
Sure.
because you have it simple. Simple is simple. And every possibility with this planner is there, but then it does make it harder. But to read, to write, to just generally start writing an article or blog post and finding it easy. So
Wonderful.
anyway, I kept talking, and because somebody showed it to me, because I never would have heard about it. I didn't know any of those other ones other than the iPad. And then I did the research, looking at, well, this sounds so great, but what else is out there?
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's good to know about these things. And also, I think it's becoming more popular. I heard someone on a very well-known, sorry, that's my Alexa in the background. A very well-known podcaster the other day mentioned it. So I thought, oh, yeah, I must be getting more well-known.
and if you don't need to take everything, and like I said, this is with my leather cover. You don't need a leather cover. You don't even need a cover.
Yeah.
But I was just treating myself. But it's really easy to just drop in something. It doesn't weigh like a laptop or anything. So it's pretty easy to always have it, with you.
All right.
And I don't know all the details, but I was at some Chinese buffet for my uncle the weekend, and I just realized, I wrote on it, I did stuff. I didn't ask them what is the Wi-Fi or the this or that. Um, so that's pretty cool
Yeah.
as well as, you know, uh,
Yep.
so
Sounds
that,
very useful. Well, thank you so much, Monique, for sharing that with us today. Appreciate it. And we will be sure and share your code, but would you like to really quickly just let people know where they can find out more about you?
drmoniquebelton.com is my website, and um, you can find out about me there. If you get one and want to know the very best planner uh, that I recommend, let me know. I'll communicate with you because there are there's a lot of things to buy, but I'm a big researcher. That's why I got a PhD. I
Yes.
love research. But I didn't just research. I actually like took action because sometimes I have problems stopping researching and moving
Oh,
on.
don't we all? What?
And
Yeah.
so that's where you can just under that name without a dot there and a .com. Um, and thank
Perfect.
you for giving me the
Oh,
opportunity to have like a bunch of friends, because a lot of my friends are retired now, so they don't need something like this, and I can't share it with them. Um,
right.
I do like to share resources.
Well, I do think all of my writer friends will be very interested in this. And then I'm sure other people will too, but for sure, the writers, I think, would really get a kick out of learning more about Remarkable. So thank you,
Okay.
Monique. And we just be sure if you're watching
Thank
this video somewhere down below or in the comments, wherever you find it, we will have a link to Monique's site. We'll have the coupon code for you. So make sure you look for that. And thanks
Right,
again
and
for
make
joining.
sure you put the coupon in, because then it'll always recognize you. Like I don't expect that necessarily that you're gonna buy, you'll be searching, but if you put it in, as long as they are going to give that extra 40, you will be able to get that extra 40. So I suggest, if you never heard of it before and you just wanna, look rudimentary into it, do that, and then you can get $140 off.
Cool.
I
That's
like a bargain.
it's always good. All right. Thanks, Monique. Thanks so much.